The possibility of extending life to Mars looks closer than ever in South Texas, where the small Boca Chica beach village is transforming into SpaceX's Starbase spaceport. The aerospace company is taking on the challenge to develop a reusable spacecraft to enable humanity to build a sustainable city on the red planet before 2050. To achieve this, SpaceX founder Chief Engineer Elon Musk expects the company to manufacture a fleet of 1,000 Starships within the next 20 years at the Starbase production factory. He aims to have the Starship launch system ready for operational missions in less than 3 years. Japanese entrepreneur Yusaku Miyazawa booked the first civilian voyage around the Moon, scheduled for the year 2023. On August 6, SpaceX stacked Starship atop a Super Heavy rocket at the Starbase launch pad for the first time. The 394-foot-tall vehicle is the world's largest rocket, taller than the Statue of Liberty. Musk shared stunning photographs of the enormous rocket via Twitter, and said that it is a dream come true to see the vehicle he designed finally stacked. An honor to work with such a great team, Musk wrote. The Super Heavy booster is equipped with 29 methane-burning Raptor engines that will turn it into the most powerful rocket in the world once the vehicle becomes operational. SpaceX employees cheered with excitement to see their hard work take shape. To celebrate the first stacking operation, they played music at the launch pad through a loudspeaker, Starships, by Nicki Minaj, as well as Fly Me to the Moon, by Frank Sinatra. According to local residents who captured a short video clip of the music. SpaceX is preparing to conduct its debut orbital Starship test flight. The stacking operation was a fit test. The spacecraft was unstacked to continue pre-flight preparations at the assembly facility, which is located less than 3 miles down Highway 4 road at Boca Chica. The road was cleared by Cameron County Sheriff, as the Starship SN20 vehicle was transported to the assembly facility. Before starting to conduct ground tests, Musk shared they must complete 4 significant items, which include installing the final heat shield tiles for ship. He said that the Starship SN20's heat shield installation is approximately 98% done, but the remaining tiles are unique shapes requiring machining. They will also add thermal protection of booster engines, complete work on the ground propellant storage tanks, and add a QD, quick disconnect arm for ship. The arm will be integrated to the newly built orbital launch tower, that is roughly 400 feet high. Musk expects that they will take 2 weeks to complete this work. Once completed, SpaceX will proceed to conduct testing at the launch pad. The test campaign is expected to initiate with a series of proof tests, to ensure the stainless steel vehicle is strong enough to withstand the stresses of an orbital flight. If the pre-flight ground tests go well, and SpaceX obtains approval from regulatory agencies, Super Heavy Booster 4 will propel Starship SN20 to orbit from Texas, and they will attempt to land Starship in the ocean off the northwest coast of Hawaii. In a small but important step towards activating a pad capable of launching the largest and most powerful rocket ever built, SpaceX has sleeved one of its Starship-derived propellant storage tanks for the first time. Starship is a fully reusable, 2-stage liquid rocket designed to ultimately cut the cost of orbital launch by at least 1 magnitude. Opening the door for humanity's sustainable expansion to Earth orbit, the Moon, Mars, and even beyond. To accomplish that lofty feat, it has to be a massive rocket. Measuring approximately 120 meters tall, and Starship and Super Heavy will weigh on the order of 300 metric tons when empty. Once filled to the brim with cryogenic liquid methane and liquid oxygen LOX propellant and gas, though, a 2-stage Starship will easily weigh more than 5,000 tons, 11 million pounds shortly before and after liftoff. Further, SpaceX wants to be able to launch at least 2 Starships from Boca Chica in rapid succession. To meet the staggering needs of back-to-back Starship launches, SpaceX has thus had to design, PP and build what will be the world's largest launchpad tank farm. Work on the tank farm is already well underway, though progress has been slower than expected. The site's foundation and a few associated blockhouses were mostly completed by January 2021. By early April, the company had completed the first of at least 7 steel propellant storage tanks at its Starship factory and rolled it to the launch pad for installation. Notably, SpaceX chose to manufacture those storage tanks itself, and ended up building structures virtually identical to the tanks that already make up most of flightworthy Starship and Super Heavy airframes. Depending on whether they're meant to store liquid oxygen or methane, the 7 tanks SpaceX is building are either 26 or 30 meters, 85 or 100 feet tall. Though the concrete mounts they're affixed to at the launch site are sized such that all storage tanks will have the same final height. Of course, being made with the same tools and out of the same steel as Starship and Super Heavy. That means that SpaceX's custom storage tanks are little more than 4 mm 1/6 thick steel shells, about as bad as it gets for keeping cryogenic rocket fuel, cryogenic. If SpaceX were to simply use those unmodified tanks, it would be almost impossible to store Starship fuel for more than a few hours, and maybe just a few minutes, without it warming up past the point of usability. As such, SpaceX's final Starship tank farm design involves 7 Starship-derived storage tanks, and 7 contractor-built tank sleeves. Measuring around 12 meters, approximately 40 feet wide, and 40 meters, approximately 130 feet tall, those cryo shells will enclose all 7 SpaceX-built tanks, allowing the company to fill the 1.5 meters, approximately 5 feet gap between them with an insulating solid, gas, or some combination of both. With those shells and insulation, SpaceX's custom-built Starship tank farm should be more than capable of storing cryogenic liquid oxygen and methane for days or even weeks. As of August 5, SpaceX has installed 3 of Starship's custom ground supply equipment GSE tanks, with a 4th moved on-site on Thursday, moved 2 cryo shells to temporary storage spots at the pad, and installed 1 cryo shell that actually turned out to be a 1-million-gallon water tank. On Thursday, SpaceX sleeved one of those storage tanks for the first time ever, marking an important milestone towards the activation of a tank farm capable of supporting Starship's orbital launch debut. Another 4 sleeves are more or less complete, with the 8th and final sleeve likely just a week or 2 away from completion. A 5th GSE tank is also more or less complete, leaving 2 more to go. However, with some basic math, it's possible to determine that SpaceX's orbital launch pad likely only needs 5 cryogenic tanks, 3 oxygen, 2 methane, and possibly as few as 4, to support Starship's first orbital test flights. With SpaceX finally beginning to install tank sleeves, it's possible that that 4 or 5 tank milestone, and the first tests of SpaceX's custom, improved storage solution, are now much closer at hand. Thanks for watching this video, and it's a super interesting topic. If you like this, make sure to subscribe. If you have any crazy ideas about what we should cover in next video, please comment it below, and we'll see if we can get to it. So thanks again for watching and goodbye.